The money can never be repaid. It's not important. The money is just a number written in the book. It is fictitious. The ECB only makes about 5% of the money in Europe, which is these notes here. This is only 3, 4, 5% of the money in Europe. The rest is numbers written in books. And those numbers written in the books arrive when they create loans. So if you wish to borrow $1 million and you wish to go to the bank and ask to borrow $1 million to buy a house from that man there, in the bank they write on the appointed day, they write 1 million with a plus sign in his account, and in your account they write 1 million with a minus sign. The two make a sum zero, right? But you owe €1 million, and the next year you owe $1 million plus 10%, the next year $1 million plus 10 plus 10, and so on. So most of the money in Europe comes from the lending of money by banks. So the government doesn't need to spend all its money. It's not a problem. The one lesson that we've learnt in history in the last 50 years is that we can live with debt. The debt is unimportant. Debt only becomes a problem if you try to pay it back. Does that answer the question?
So where should Germany spend this money?
You should spend the money looking after the people.
People?
Yeah,
by making what?
Building roads, building bridges, building public infrastructure.
Isn't it enough for Germany? So many roads, so many buildings. What another things can make Germany?
To make the business in Germany thrive, you need all the things that help businesses to thrive. So the first thing you need to do is to reduce income tax, and you need to reduce corporate tax, and you need to put higher taxes on things that we must have, which include land. So we need a land tax, which will stop land speculation and the taking of money by rent. Land was provided by God or nature, depending on your thinking, for all living things to share. A man came along and drew lines on the land, and then the banks could lend money against the demand for use for that land. It's still German land, but what happens is that the bank lends money against the land, and then people buy it in speculation, and then they start renting it. So our biggest expense in running business is for the use of land which was provided by God or nature for nothing, free, right? So that's the biggest thing that slows our business down, is the cost of rents and land. So we should pay it as a tax to the government in land tax. The other one is a transaction tax. Currently you only pay tax on transactions such as sales tax and on employment tax. If you work, you pay transaction. You perhaps have a payroll tax. These are bad taxes. You need to put a tax on all transactions. So those people, the example I give is, if you buy gold paint to paint a car, then you pay tax. But if you buy a block of gold, you pay no tax. And if you buy shares in a gold company, you pay no tax. That's ridiculous. Why is gold paint taxed, but block of gold not taxed and gold shares not taxed? So we must put a small tax on all transactions, especially the ones that involve finance. And the figure I've worked out is 0.1%. 0.1% is $1 in 1,000. It's nearly nothing. You pay, how much sales tax do you pay in your country? 10, 15, 20%? How much income tax do you pay? These are crazy figures, crazy figures. 0.1% is all the tax you need to pay on all transactions. And my calculation is that is enough to finance almost your whole nation. And if you put a land tax, a small land tax as well, and also you need to stop the hoarding of money. See, this money here is only useful when it moves. Each time that note moves, it does 20 euros of economic activity. And so if I give it to you and you go to the shop and spend it, in one day that note has the potential to do 200 euros of economic activity out of a note that cost nothing to create. Now in a year that is 72,000 euros of economic activity out of one $20 €20 note which cost nothing to create. But what happens at present is that note, because so much money in Europe is hoarded, that note is only changing one time in a year. That's ridiculous. So the biggest economic problem we have in the world is the hoarding of money. Money being hoarded in simply by well-off people, leaving it in bank accounts, but also in tax havens.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.